reflecting, and we are also looking at what next to do. We know that today, this month is the 70th anniversary of the declaration. It's the anniversary of many other things that have been mentioned, but from the human rights field, I know that this year, in fact, December, is the 25th anniversary of the Paris Principles governing the national human rights institutions like mine. It's the 20th anniversary of the Declaration on Public Defenders and many others. So it's a very exciting period during which we need to reflect. But let me go back to the Universal Declaration on Human Rights and say that analysts say that when it was conceptualized and adopted, the aim was not to create a binding document. As a result, there was no signing that was required. South Africa was part of the discussion, and South Africa at that time, even though it was not to be signed by anything, registered an abstention because they felt that it was too wide. Nevertheless, no one voted against it. Everybody supported it except the 18 that abstained, including South Africa. But flying back to where we are today, we see that the Universal Declaration on Human Rights has actually acquired a force of its own, even though it was initially intended not to be binding, in the sense that many states have adopted it in their constitutions, and even those that have not adopted it in their constitution will find decisions that show that it gets referred to from time to time. Somebody suggested recently that they think that it has already acquired the status of international customary law. Now, we have a constitution that, as you have said, that largely adopts the provisions for the rights that are provided for in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. But when we cast our minds back, we should remember where we come from. We come from a situation that was oppressive, that denied these rights. I remember that already before the adoption of the system of apartheid, the seeds for apartheid were already being sown. There were divisions on the basis of race that were manifesting itself. And in 1934, you'll recall that in the case of Sachs versus Minister of Justice, if I may quote, the judges themselves took the view that Parliament may make any encroachment it chooses upon the life, liberty, or property of any individual subject to its sway, and it is the function of the courts of law to enforce it. That is where we come from. Of course, we know that in 1948, apartheid was then adopted, and if you look at the constitutions that were passed thereafter, they entrenched this practice and made it the policy that governed the country. So while in 1948, the rest of the world was moving towards the recognition of human rights, South Africa was marching in a different direction, adopting apartheid and passing constitutions that actually said that Parliament is supreme and that no courts, no court of law could actually inquire into the validity of such legislation. And this went on for a very long time because if you look at later cases, like cases in the late 70s, the early 80s and so on, they still maintained this attitude. And when instruments such as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the Geneva Conventions were invoked, as it was done in the case of Bongani, our judges were told that these are not part of South African law and that they are also not part of international customary law, which then meant that the rights of the majority of the people of this country will continue to be violated. But it is interesting that in spite of all these difficulties, the people of this country never lost hope. They struggled on, they fought on, and they followed the actions of leaders such as the late President Nelson Mandela, and they joined